Yo, in this video, we're going to show you how to level your blunderbuss fast. All right, so before we go blasting mobs down with the blunderbuss, there's a couple of things we need to do to get prepared. So obviously you're going to have to obtain a blunderbuss first before we go out. We're going to spec into our skills. We'll go into that here in just a second. We'll show you the skill progression and what you need to take to kind of burn down these big packs of mobs first. So the idea behind leveling a weapon, if you've never done this before, you're going to go to a location that has high density mobs. You're going to group them up into a group, and then you're just going to AoE them down as quickly as possible. And you're just going to preferably go in a area that has a rotation of mobs spawning, so you don't have to wait. So it's just constant rotations through the area, grouping up mobs and burning them down. While you're using the blunderbuss, you would like to be ideally burning down corrupted mobs, because the blunderbuss deals thrust damage, and with it dealing thrust damage, you're going to do increased damage to the corrupted mob type. You will do reduced damage to Angry Earth, reduced damage to Lost, and you'll do neutral damage to the Ancients. But you can go level this weapon anywhere you want, really. It's not going to be that big of a deal because you can burn the mobs down pretty fast anyway. But if you want to really min-max and do this the fastest way possible, corrupted mobs is the way to go. So if you're going to be burning down corrupted mobs, it would be ideal if you had an arcane gem slotted. That way you do even more damage to these big packs of enemies, because arcane damage is going to boost your damage against the corrupted mob type even more. So slot you an arcane gem in there and then go to work. If you are fighting like Angry Earth or Lost or Ancients or something like that, obviously you'd want to slot a different gem. We have a chart over at newworldfans.com that'll show you exactly which gem to slot against which type of enemy and what type of damage does the most or the least damage to that enemy type, and I'll link that in the description below. The locations you're going to want to go, we'll go over those here momentarily. So one of the other things you can do is you can get a honing stone if you really want to min max. I don't think this is entirely necessary, but again, we're trying to show you how to burn these things down fast and level this weapon up as quickly as possible. So if you really want to min max and you want to use the money, they are quite expensive sometimes, but you could use a honing stone to increase your damage with the blunderbuss as well, so that you can burn these mobs down faster. So blunderbuss, get a gem, slot that gem, and then honing stone if you want to do even more damage. And then if you can get your hands on a really good blunderbuss to start so that you can go do even more damage, that would be ideal, something that has some really good perks on there. But in the beginning, it may be a little hard to get your hands on those unless you just go on like a crazy crafting session or something. So really any blunderbuss will work at this point, just to get it leveled up, just so you can get the weapon to max, right? All right, so here we are over at newworldmap.com. We're going to use this map to show you guys some great places to level up. There is also a guide over at newworldfans.com that shows you a whole lot of places to level up if you don't want to utilize these two. But again, with the blunderbuss, it deals thrust damage, so we're going to focus on trying to find corrupted areas to level up. And here is one of the places I like to go. This place is pretty efficient. It'll help you level up your blunderbuss very quickly. There's a nice rotation of mobs. It's very easy to do, and it is called the Defiler Excavation. It's up here in Great Cleave. It is level 41 to 43 corrupted enemies, so this is prime. There's a spear shrine here, so you go to the spear shrine, run down here, run down this road, and the entrance to the mine is about right here. If this place is camped, because I think this place is pretty well known, a lot of people like to go here to level weapons. I would expect that a lot of people may go here for the blunderbuss, but if not, then level away there. If that place is taken up, then you can go over here to Hibbetsfield. Probably not the most efficient place to level up, but if some of the other really good hotspot leveling places are taken, you can come to Hibbetsfield here. These are corrupted mobs as well. They're level 50. They're pretty easy to burn down. Most of them on the outer edge, or all of them on the outer edge, are melee. There are a few archers in the middle, so just don't worry about those. You're just going to run a loop around the outer edge here. A couple of other places that you can go to if you wish. One of the good places that probably a lot of people will be going to. These are lost mobs though, so keep that in mind. You're not going to burn these down quite as fast with the blunderbuss, because the blunderbuss is thrust damage, does decrease damage to lost mobs, but this is a really good spot for leveling weapons nonetheless. There's some more spots you can level up your blunderbuss at, or any weapon for that matter. And we have a great guide over at newworldfans.com. We'll make sure to link that in the description below to give you some more ideas of where to go if all else fails, or if you're below level 60 and you can't handle this high level of mobs, then you can use this map here and you can find some areas for yourself that you would like to go level the blunderbuss up, and use the same method in other areas. So for example, you could find a corrupted area down here that's 13. I don't know about Lidham's Pick. I've never been there to farm weapon XP, but you see, get the picture. You can find an area on here that's corrupted, and you can go to that area and see if there's a loop that you can run run if you're lower level and you want to level up your blunderbuss quick. That is the best way to do it. All right, so now let's take a look at your attribute point distribution with the blunderbuss. The blunderbuss is a split stat weapon. You can see it scales off of strength and intelligence here. So whenever you're specking into attributes to get the most bang for your buck, this is what I've found works the best. Now you got to pay attention to your health here. You have very little health. It's 6,000 health. I went light armor and I went this distribution here with only 6k health. It works out just fine because ideally you're going to be level 60 whenever you're doing this. So you're going to be going into lower level zones. So you're going to be fighting like level 45-ish mobs whenever you're trying to level the blunderbuss. So you can avoid damage, burn down the mob packs very quickly without too much fear of dying. If you feel like you're going to die some, you're going to want to take points out of intelligence and put it in constitution. Do not take points out of strength because you're going to lose a lot of damage. So you can see here we have 1510 damage with the blunderbuss. If we take points out of strength and we go like a 200 to 50 build, you can see the 200 strength, 250 intelligence lowers our attribute points. That's because this weapon scales primarily from strength and secondarily off of intelligence. So it makes sense that you're going to get less damage out of the weapon whenever you put more points into intelligence than strength. However, there is some diminishing returns once you push past the 300 threshold for strength. So whenever you go up to, let's see, 130 up to 320. So now if we do 320, 130, you can see we're at 1504. Whereas before with 300, 150, we were at 1510. So if we spec that even further and go 100, 350, we're at 1495. So you can see there's diminishing returns there whenever you start specking in. So ideally you're going to want to go to 300 strength, and then you're going to want to push your intelligence up to 200 if you can. So you'd want to go 300, 200, and then that's where you'd want your attribute points to be with no constitution. This is going to help you just burn the mobs down really, really quick. Again, if you feel like you cannot survive or you're having a hard time surviving against these mobs, just take a few points out of intelligence, push your constitution up a little bit, and you'll be fine. So that is the attribute point distribution. That's what you're going to want to do with the blunderbuss. Also, I've been doing this in light armor. I feel like light armor is fine. You can dodge roll around. You have a little bit more mobility with the blunderbuss, and you can avoid damage for the most part. You just have to be very careful with 6k health. You don't get shoved and stuck into a corner, because if you do that, you will die if you get stuck in a corner. So just be aware of your surroundings and be aware of where you're going. And after you do the rotation a couple times, you'll be fine. You won't get stuck, and you'll be able to maneuver around and kill the mobs very quickly with this stat point distribution, and even with 6k health. But if you feel like you need more, out of intelligence into constitution, and you'll be good to go. All right, so now let's talk about the skill progression a little bit as you're leveling this weapon. So this is kind of what your end screen is going to look like here. You're going to have Azoth Shrapnel Blast, you're going to have your Splitting Grenade, and then you're going to have your Mortar Charge over here. Those are going to be your 3 active abilities, right? So this is the progression that you're going to want to take as you're leveling this weapon. The first thing you're going to want to take is Azoth Shrapnel Blast. This is just going to allow you to do a little bit more damage with your weapon in the first few levels. You're going to obviously hit level 2 very quickly. It's very easy to get there. So then you're going to take your Splitting Grenade. At level 3, you're then just going to take your Mortar Charge. So now you're going to have your 3 active abilities. Now you're going to be able to burn the packs down a little bit quicker with these 3 active abilities. The next thing I like to do is I like to go all the way down into Azoth Shrapnel Blast. This is because you now get a singular bomb down the center of your Azoth Shrapnel Blast fan. This bomb implants itself in the world and then explodes, dealing 100% damage in a 3-meter area after delay. So this is really good at damaging a big damaging AoE ability at the end. Plus you still get the benefits of the Azoth Shrapnel Blast. So this right here just helps you burn down mobs even quicker, right? The next thing I like to take is I like to come over here and take Soften, because this deals a 25% increased damage to targets that are greater than 50% health. So the reason I take this is because typically we're going to open with Splitting Grenade. You're going to throw out a Splitting Grenade first, then you're going to go into Azoth Shrapnel Blast, and you're going to go into your Mortar Charge to kind of finish all the mobs off, and then you're going to just mow them down with your light attacks. And if Azoth Shrapnel Blast happens to come off cooldown, you'll use one of those just to clear them out in the end. So it's a very quick process. You should have the mobs mowed down no problem once you get to this point, right? So then after we take the Soften, we're going to come over here and spec the rest into your Mortar Charge. This is so you can get Streak. Streak is going to gain an extra canister, so now you can fire up to 4 shots versus the previous 3, which is obviously just going to give you more damage potential against the large groups of mobs, right? So then after that, I like to come over here here and take ramp. This is just going to give you even more damage after a reload. It stacks up to 4 times. So this gives you a damage boost of 4% for 6 seconds. This is going to help you in the later levels a lot. So then you're going to come over here and get deep load. You're going to spec into that one. And then after that, I like to come back over here and take buckshot right here. Deal increased damage to any target as long as you have not damaged them in the last 8 seconds. This will help you because your mob rotation is probably a little bit more than 8 seconds on these big pulls. So you'll pull a mob, you'll go gather up the other mobs. It'll probably take you around 8 to 10 seconds to gather them up. And then once you shoot again, you're going to do increased damage, which is nice. So the next thing you're going to want to take after that is you're going to want to come back up here and take future planning. So future planning is going to reduce all other ability cooldowns, which is just going to allow you to burn down mobs even faster, obviously, because your cooldowns are going to come up quicker, which is very nice. The next thing I like to take is artillery into extended chamber, and then just take double down. And then obviously you only have 1 more point left. So whenever you level up, that'll be the last level. You'll be at level 20. You'll get an additional point, and then you'll probably want to respec at that point anyway for whatever build you're going to want to do. So this is what it's going to look like at the end of the leveling. This is what I found works best for me and for my leveling. I did try to take blast shot with the rend. It didn't work near as well as grenade, taking grenade and these other abilities. This is what I found burns down the mob packs as quickly as possible. This is the rotation that I found works very good, and so this is what I would recommend. Now, the weapon pairing that you can pair with the blunderbuss as you are trying to level, it really depends on what you're trying to do. I really liked pairing the hatchet with it because you just run with the hatchet on your back bar, and as you gather up the mobs, you're going to take a little bit of damage. You can switch over to the hatchet and pop your berserk for a little bit of a speed boost. You run through the mobs, gather them up again, switch over to your blunderbuss, and by the time you do that, you're probably going to be full health. That way you don't have to use any potions or anything of the sort. You just switch over to berserk, heal up, gather the mobs up, switch back to your blunderbuss, and go through your rotation again. I found that works out pretty well, but obviously you can do whatever you want with your back bar weapon. That is completely up to you. So before we wrap this thing up, I just want to show you guys a couple of little quirks with the mortar charge ability on the blunderbuss, so that whenever you start leveling this weapon, you don't make a few of these mistakes and waste this ability. All right, so whenever you're using the mortar charge, here's a couple of things to be aware of. This ability right here, whenever you proc this ability or activate this ability, you'll go into your mortar charge stance here. So if you dodge, it pulls you out of it. If you go back into it and you jump, it also pulls you out of it. If you go back into it and you shoot one and then you dodge, it goes on cooldown. So you don't want to go into it, shoot one, dodge, or jump, because then the ability will go on cooldown. If you go into the ability before dodging or jumping and doing any other animation, then it won't go on cooldown. So just be aware of that while you're using this ability, so you don't get yourself in trouble while you're trying to burn down the pack's mobs, and you'll be good. So again, whenever you use the ability, you go in, if you dodge, pulls you out, but it doesn't go on cooldown. If you go in and you shoot a couple shots, or one shot even, you dodge, you see it goes back on cooldown. So just something to be aware of as you use the mortar charge ability. All right, so that about does it for the blunderbuss video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got something out of it. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. If you guys have any places that you like to go level, or some places that you think are going to be great to level a blunderbuss, let us know where those are down in the comments below. We'd love to know. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.